It's Monday night. That means it's Chiefs talk. This is going to be fun. They're just about here. You're going to see players on the field by the end of this next weekend, maybe even something from Friday night. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to talk about what they're going through, what might have changed today a little bit. And I know you guys have a ton of questions. That's why we're going to answer them all tonight, more or less, as soon as I get started with what we're going to cover off the bat. I think you guys are going to dig it. And quite frankly, it's something that has been coming a long time. I'm looking forward to this season starting, maybe more so than any other. And we'll get to all that, as well as your questions. Coming up next, this is RGR Football. Welcome back, everybody. It's Monday. It's the last Monday in July that you don't have to at least think about football, because they're going to be back on the field. The quarterbacks and rookies report here on Friday. We have that confirmed from the team, and that's going to be, I think, a relief for everyone. We have some cool stuff coming for you this week. Dan's got something. I've got something. A lot of new things going on. So we'll have some announcement about all that. Want to say thank you very much, Ben Brockback. It looks like you super chatted before I even got started. It's not in the chat anymore, but thank you very much. As always, appreciate it. And folks, if you want to support us, that's one of the best ways to do it. I did just put a link back into the Teespring store, because any of the gear in there helps us as well. And you get some cool stuff for it. I'm working on some camp designs that should be out before the end of training camp, so I think that'll be fun. I'm really interested to know, especially if you're not in here in the live chat, leave your comment down below. Are you going to go to training camp in St. Joe or not? I really want to know how many people are going to be there. I'm trying to nail down the dates and when I'm going to make a visit and see what we can put together while I'm there. So thank you, Ben, for your support. As always, I'll try to find your first question in here somewhere. It's tough. It's been a long wait, right? But now it comes down to trying to get everything going. Everybody's coming back. They're going to be reporting. They're going to have to get on the same page rather quickly. We've talked a little bit about what we have seen in OTAs, in minicamp, what's coming next. That's really going to be the key. A couple of things. I'm sure you guys are going to ask the questions tonight. I'm not going to spend too much time here at the beginning on my take, other than it's still a little bit fluid. There's still some question marks out there that we don't know about. We're going to find out. And I think that's perfectly fine. That's normal for this point in the season. I'm still really optimistic about where they are. And we can kind of like do a reset right now. I'll have a 53-man roster projection after the last preseason game. That's when that'll come out. I've had some folks ask about that already. I know there's a thread going in the member Discord right now. We have started sending out the invitations. You're going to find the whole staff is in there on and off, led by Stevie and Gooch and Aaron, our fearless moderator, who is in the house tonight. Thank you very much. I poke my head in when I can, try to get things organized so that everybody else can kind of relax and just do their thing. It's a member perk. And so you want to join the memberships. If you want into the Discord where it's just RGR fans, no one else is let in. It's not a public server or anything. All you got to do is join the memberships. Right now, the invites have gone out to the elites and the all pros. And next will be the starters. Then we'll get down to the rookies. And if you're a draft pick, you want to elevate up to the rookie level of the membership to get into the Discord. That's where we're going to get to eventually. Don't know exactly how fast that's going to roll out. It's predicated on me having contact information for you. So if you would like that, please let me know. I have a special email address. You can send it to RGR podcasts at Gmail. And that will get over to me. And that's how new members, if you want me to have your contact information so you can get invited to the Discord, that's the way to do it. That said, a lot of interesting things in there. They're working on 53-mans and just in general discussion. That's really what it's about. It's all RGR fans in discussion. Night Hunter, thank you for that first rogue. Yeah, I like having that. I've got a couple now. If you guys keep doing that, I'll have enough to maybe string them together and make something out of it. So I'm really hopeful. If you guys would record you doing rogue, yeah, that would be great. And so we'll jump into the questions here. Jimmy's got one, and I want to see, per your topic today on LOC, would you say starting Creed and two vets on the right side is more Andy's MO, especially considering there are 3 games are the Browns, Ravens, and Chargers. I think in general, Andy Reid and Andy Heck would rather start, if it's a tie, it'll go to the veteran. They don't want to take any chances, and they honestly don't. I think they're very cognizant of taking a good player and protecting his confidence until he's able and ready for the field. And so I appreciate that, because I think that gives you more longevity on a given player, whether it's a second contract or anything else. I think that's good. And so I think there's 2 things. Right now, we didn't see Niang beat out Remmers. And I mean on the field in OTAs. We didn't see that. If we had, I would be a little bit more concerned about starting 3 rookies, because as Chris always says, Jimmy, Niang is, for all intents and purposes, a rookie. He knows how meetings work. He knows where things are in the building, that kind of thing. But he's not very far ahead of the rookie class. So we on Locked On, and I think for the most part, me everywhere, I'm going to consider him a rookie. And so that's one thing. If we had seen him start to take reps from Remmers in OTAs, I think maybe. That doesn't mean that the battle's done. By no means. This is where the battle starts right now. Everything else was just learning. So I'm not concerned about it. If we see him start to take reps from Remmers in camp, it's a very good sign. Because I don't think they'll start him, even if it gets to a tie, they won't start him over Remmers unless he earns it. So I'm comfortable there. The bigger question is at guard, because Trey Smith has a lot of good qualities. The team is really, really high on him. I love him playing downhill. He played in a lot of pull situations. I'm not sure he's got the athleticism right now for doing that much pulling, that much play in space at the NFL level. That might be troublesome for him. But he's smart and he's nasty and he can do a ton of things. And so, again, another situation where if the rookie wins and actually gets starts, especially those first 3 games, like you said, that means he beat out 2 veterans that have a lot of playing experience and a lot of success in this league, and that you can take away. So that is a positive sign. I doubt that happens. I think they're one of the veterans will play either right guard or right tackle. I don't think it's going to come down to that in the first 3 games, especially. That might be a different tune by mid-season. That's kind of my kind of target for Trey Smith, like where he can take over, if he can beat those guys out. Obviously depends on what comes from Kyle Long. Does he come back healthy? We don't know. Does LDT get back into the mix of things, because he wasn't running with the ones in OTAs? So we got to see him take a step forward and knock all the rust all the way back off. But that's what OTAs or minicamp was for him, and then he'll get back in the swing of it. The fact that he missed all of OTAs was a travel thing with Canada, and the team's aware of it and all that. And so I don't know that there was a whole lot of expectation. So truly, this is a camp where I think the offensive line is going to shake itself out in camp, just as it used to in the old days. Thank you for your question. I appreciate that. Looks like, folks, if you want a super chat, make sure you put a question in there so I can get you something for it. Looks like there's another one. I'm going to get to it as soon as I can here. I want to make sure I get everybody's questions tonight. If I miss you, get with Aaron, and he will make sure that I don't miss it a second time. But Aaron did ask, do you think that Riley Cole stays, or does he go to the practice squad? Right now, I'm leaning towards practice squad. I haven't been able to see him at all, though. So I'm just going off of secondhand reports from the beat reporters and the people that I know that got to see some of it. I won't have anything more. I think it's going to take some doing to beat out Dorian O'Daniel as a special team specific guy. I don't know that Riley Cole's in a position that he can beat out Harris as like a backup. True. But clearly there's room, because the top 4 are Hitch, Willie, Bolton, and Neiman. There's no question there. No one else is close to them. They are the best 4 linebackers on this roster. They will be, unless they make another acquisition. So it really is about, do they keep 6 linebackers in the scope of special teams, or does that go to the corners and wide receivers? Given that they're probably going to keep an extra lineman, things might get tight. We think it's going to be a 55-man roster. That helps. So I think he's right on the edge, Riley Cole. From what I heard, he had a couple of nice plays. So did Key. Like, those are 2 guys that are like going to be special teams oriented that have to fight their way on, but might have a chance. So let's see what else. Looking for question marks, folks. If you're new to this chat, to this channel, welcome. I'm Ryan. This is what we do on Monday nights all year round. It doesn't matter whether it's the only time we don't do it this on Monday night. The Q&A is when there's a Monday night game. But that said, you'll get used to the rest. But if you're not, if you see what Aaron did right here with putting the question marks at the beginning, it helps me find them because I don't scroll fast enough once I get to talking. So that it is very helpful for me. And so that's what I'm looking for right now is who gave me the next set of question marks. There's Ben, and he thinks Riley will play himself onto, and that's honestly what he's got to do. I think it's his impetus to make the team. He has to go out and prove that and grab some attention, quite frankly, because they're comfortable with what Dorian does in special teams. So, and I think Harris as well, to tell you the truth. But Jimmy's got another one. Great. 3 vaccinated Yankees tested positive. Now, 3 USA Olympians have had to pull out for testing positive. Is this a sign of the upcoming season? I'm just trying to remain hopeful here. It could be. There are a number of cases. Rich Eisen actually is double vaccinated, generally wears masks from what I read of his comments, and still got it as well. This new Delta variant, from the people I know in healthcare, is really a different beast, a much stronger one, and it seems to spread. So I don't know if that's going to be something new, but the NFL is aware of what it'll do to their business if they let a bunch of people start getting sick and contaminating each other. So right now the protocols are for the vaccinated to be okay, to be in normal contact. Does that change? It could. They could go back to masking. I know everybody gets up in arms about masking, whether it should be mandatory or not or whatever. Here's the simple fact. They've done this for multiple outbreaks in Asia, like for years and years and years. And it worked. It slowed the thing down. I don't think it's a big deal for the NFL to go right back to masking. I don't think they'll do all the contact tracing and, all that kind of stuff unless there's an outbreak. So I am, Jimmy, optimistic that it's not going to affect a season. The difference with the Olympians, and it's interesting there's also a gymnast on the Olympic team. She's an alternate, so she's not one of the primary 6. But she is one of the alternates. She came down with it positive as well. The difference is right now, unlike what you're seeing, I think last I read, there's 60 athletes at the Olympic Games already there in the village that are positive now. Most of the American teams have not left yet. So they're here in the States and they're all kind of exposed to different areas or whatever. So I think it's a little bit more random right now for the USA athletes. So let's hope that a little bit more back to basics, back to masking, and just keeping your distance, especially when you're about to be in Olympic Games. Let's hope that gets the job done. I'm optimistic for it. Scott, most shocking projected camp cut. Ooh, that's a good one. I haven't projected anything yet. No one that I trust has, so I haven't been reading the projections. Ask me a specific one, and I'll tell you whether I think that that's a possibility or not, Scott. Okay, I'm going to scroll down and get to the questions. Here we go. With Ingram now signed, could this be a Justin Houston reunion? The fact that Melvin Ingram has signed, he is in Pittsburgh now, so he is off the table for the Kansas City Chiefs. That doesn't change anything with the situation with Justin Houston. He wasn't happy when he left. The team wasn't happy with him when he left. I don't know if the bridge burnt all the way to the ground, but it was on fire. Is there a possibility? Yeah, but it's the same possibility, slim possibility that they could work something out in a return. It's about the same possibility as it was a week or 2 ago. You know what I mean? I don't think it's ever been not ever going to happen, but I don't think it's a strong thing. I think this league, even the farther we go down the line with everything, the more it becomes clear that this league is built on relationships. And once you mess that relationship up or there's contention there, it's not easily repaired. So I still am going to take the under that it could happen. Great question, though. Ben with another one. Is Fortson the 4th twin? I'm not sure what that means. So I'm not going to answer it that. Eric, welcome. Hope that you're having a good night. We're cruising on up to 200 people in here. I like to see that. Thank you all very much. Keep spreading the word because next week we're going to have camp to talk about. So I want to get as many new faces in here to kind of hang out with us and get the feel for what we're going to do all season long. We have some tweaks. We're going to have some new stuff for this season. You guys, I might as well announce it now. You guys are going to see Stevie and Gooch and their show, Rogue Head Huddle, on, I think, Saturdays, because game day will be Friday night. We'll see where the schedule falls out, but I think it's going to be Saturday morning, Saturday noon, something like that. You're going to see them every week as we get ready for that week's game. So I'm pretty excited about that. I know the guys are excited about that. Gooch is still after dark, so that's going to be a members video series. You're still going to have to get into the memberships to get to that. You just hit the rookie level. If you guys are draft picks and you hang out in the chats and everything, you want to see some of that content, just jump up to rookie, and that'll take care of it. It's the next level up. Let's see. Night Hunter got you there. That's not a question. Okay, Josh, how are you, Josh? Thoughts on either Jerry Hughes or Devin Kennard as options if they get cut after camp? I've wrote about both of them with rumors out there. Jerry Hughes has had some performance. I'm trying to place Devin Kennard. I do not remember him playing anything that made me say, hey, that's a fit. But I'm going to look him up real quick because I can't remember how much development he's had. Oh, that said, I know he's in Arizona and he's on the older side, right? I don't remember it being, I'm going to look his stats up real quick. I don't remember him being a successful pass rusher or a coverage guy in particular. Played 4 games last year. So that's why I'm spacing on him. Yeah. 58 solo tackles the year before, though. That's solid. I would say that's a possibility. You never know. They'll throw some things at a wall. I think Hughes, especially given if you're thinking about like the pass rush in particular, I think Jerry Hughes is probably the better option there. I don't know that he's going to go anywhere. I think there'll be somebody that we're not expecting to get cut that will get cut. I don't know anyone real well that's in either of those markets, so I can't tell you for certain if those rumors are true or not. But hey, we'll see what happens. And I'll try to brush up on Kennard a little bit. There we go. Thank you, Trish. I appreciate that. Let's see. Michael, I don't know if I can get a tent set up. They're not letting vendors that I'm aware of anywhere near camp, as far as I understand. And so I think what I'll try to do is maybe we'll set up a meetup somewhere, likely back in Kansas City is my guess, because I'm just not sure what's available around St. Joe. I don't want to hang out in a bar. You know what I mean? Like, I'll have a beer at a restaurant with somebody, but I don't want to force folks to come to a bar. But we'll find something. I want it family friendly is my point. I might have one of my daughters with me. I'm not sure. We will find out. Let's see. Christo, how are you? What do you think of McColl and Juan future contracts will look like? I mean, that's really, really up in the air. Right now, I would say that Juan has probably earned a bigger contract, just in contrast to what he's been able to do. McColl's been bright in spots, but McColl's now got to be a starter level caliber player. That's going to be determined this season, as far as I'm concerned. There's a lot more wide receiver depth out there, though. So I think that when it comes down to what his market will be, I don't think it's going to be as lucrative. Whereas I think Juan got all the way back, it felt like, towards the end of last season. And if he takes a step forward, he's been spending a lot of time with Steve Spagnuolo this offseason, trying to get the mental side a little bit farther up so that he can recognize some things a little bit quicker. And I think that's going to make a change for him. I do think that Juan will definitely be back, and I think McColl will as well. I don't think either will break the bank, but I think that they are good youth, and I expect them both to take a step forward this season. I just don't know how much of a step. So it's going to be critical for both of them. Let's see here. Steven, how are you, Mr. Concepcion? Matt said something interesting yesterday. Our secondary depends on the front seven getting pressure. Is that an ideal expectation, or shouldn't the secondary be doing their share to help the pass rush? I mean, it's like, you're trying to scale a wall and you're pushing out on both sides, right? Both have to happen. What's been happening is that the secondary's been pretty good, despite a lot of big names at corner. Super young now without Breeland there either. And so now this was the season that if they were going to let Breeland go and they're going to stay that young at corner, you had to have the safeties cover over the back and be able to kind of lock things down a little bit better. And you had to have more pass rush. If Frank Clark misses time, that's difficult to do. If he's there for all the whole regular season, I think they're going to be fine. I'm really excited to see what Chris Jones can do. I haven't seen him since he dropped. He looks like he's dropped at least 12, 14 pounds to me. If he can get around the edge a little bit better and not have to power through everybody, if it's not bull rushes and rips, if it's a little bit more bend, and rip under. He's not going to be able to do arm overs out there. Like he's got it's about the takeoff for Chris out there. I know he's been looking forward to moving to defensive end, but it is to be really good at it. There is a different skill set that we haven't necessarily seen him do yet. And I'm really interested to see if he can pull that off. It's tough because you have more talent investment in the front in Chris Jones, Frank Clark, and Jaron Reed. All above average players. Even if you're frustrated with Frank's performance last couple of years, above average player. Whereas in the back, there's Tyron. I think in his second year, I think Juan was average. He improved a little bit towards the end of the season, but he was not as good as he was as a rookie. L'Jarius Sneed was obviously the standout. The rest of the corners were average, is my opinion. Rashad Fenton was a little bit above average. He just didn't get the playing time because of Sneed. So yeah, I mean it's an age-old strategy. Is the defense you generally build it as it's either secondary that covers and then you get some pass rush, or it's a pass rush dominant team that has some good guys eventually covering the back as you get younger. I think right now is they just don't have enough consistent prominence at either one to say that that's what they are. Row the boat. How are you? What will be more impactful to the passing game this season? Changes to the offensive line or changes to the wide receiver core? It will be changes to the offensive line because you're really only talking about changing one position, the wide receiver 2, which in terms of market share is third down the depth chart in terms of, Tyreek, Travis, then the third, and then McCole, right? In terms of total or slot, I guess is what we should say. In terms of total targets, that kind of thing. And you're putting in the wrinkle of the H-back of a secondary tight end, / move tight end, whatever you want to call Noah Gray. From everything that I've heard, they really want to use him. They really want to get him worked into an offense that brings a different look. And so that's a bit of a question mark. Whoever takes the reins at the X receiver, that's a bit of a question mark. And I'm not convinced either of them are going to make a huge impact, especially early in the season. So I think the ability to allow Patrick to be more Patrick is what it's going to come down to. And as long as they get it sorted out come the regular season, I think it's going to be a little bit bumpy as Creed Humphrey gets used to making those calls and we figure out who's going to be playing on the right-hand side. I think it will be a little bit bumpy in the beginning. Chriso, what do you think is better? Who do you think is better? Dirty Dan or EB? It's not a question. Eric Berry was 10 times the player that Dan Sorensen is. Dan's a great role player. Eric Berry was a force. It's not close at all. Let's see here. Steve, stronger arm, Elway or Mahomes? Elway's was pretty strong. I never saw him throw over 80 yards. I never heard of him throwing over 80 yards. So I'm going to give Mahomes the slight edge there. Aaron, do you really think that they have Niang and or Trey Smith in the middle of the season? Not even because if someone's hurt. I don't see Andy messing with the line unless something is really wrong. I mean, the career of Austin Ryder tells you that. You're correct. But especially at the guard spot, Kyle Long, LDT, they've both been hurt in recent years. LDT obviously coming from the opt-out, whole year off. Kyle retired. He's 33 years old, whole year off. To think that one of them is going to win that job and stay available the whole season is a stretch. And I can't say that I even feel that both of them, that Kyle Long and LDT could together as a duo man the right guard spot the entire year. So I think Trey Smith has a bigger transition to get viable in this league than a lot of people think. It will, I think, give him a leg up if we do see them run more power and man concepts and less zone, especially inside zone. I think that will help him because I think he's more comfortable than I think. I think it allows him to play more instinctually. He's a nasty dude that wants to get a hold of you and grind you up. And I think that if they can do that more, that will lead towards Trey coming along faster. Let me put it that way. Okay. What do you really know about Niang? If he hadn't opted out, would he have been in the lineup for the playoffs? I mean, there's no way to tell that. I will tell you this. He didn't allow a sack in college. He sets really well vertically, which the Chiefs do sometimes. They're more of a 45 rather than a vertical set, like in terms of how much depth they get. Part of that is Mahomes drifting on the back of the pocket is a problem. If he continues to do that, Niang's got the athleticism to kick back pretty well. He had that injury coming out of college, so we didn't get to see a full season of his senior year, and then obviously opted out. Stance. He is best in a shotgun roll and a 2-point stance, at least from all the film that I watched of him in college. Could he have progressed to the point that by the playoffs he would be doing that? I have no way to tell you. In fact, whatever we see this year from Lucas Niang, the progression is pretty much exactly what I would expect we would have seen last year had he been participating. Oh, and it looks like Dan made it. That's great. Hey, buddy, how are you?
You're going to have to wait a second.
Okay, well, then I'll just keep talking over you. No big deal.
All right, there we go.
Trish, nice to see you. Thank you very much. Steve, rank the following 25s: Reggie Tongue, Greg Wesley, CH, and Jamal. I mean, come on. How about Jamal? Can I do that? Is that
yeah? That's
what
I'm gonna do.
Okay. I mean, yeah. I'll give you this. Reggie Tongue made a couple of plays. Greg Wesley, I don't remember good things about. I would have to go back and relook at stats and that kind of thing. But Jamal, CEH, Tongue, and Wesley. That's what I would do.
I'm not going to pretend like I know much about Tongue or Wesley, so
okay,
not much cool. I can do about that.
Samuel, should the Chiefs have Kyle Long for the second half of the season? Absolutely. They say that he's going to make it to training camp.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's going to be full strength until the end of training camp. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I don't really know. They're very hushed about their injury stuff. Like, we don't even actually know the severity of his injury. They just kind of said that he was going to be ready for the start of season. So maybe he just kind of nicked something. Like, we don't actually know what happened. They're just very close to the close to the chest with that kind of stuff. So it's possible they're trying to make people think that Long isn't going to be a starter early in the season. I don't tend to think that they are, but you never know. I think that he'll probably be ready by week 4, like full go week 4. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. He may be full go week 1 for all we know.
Yeah.
If it had been super severe, I think we would know more by now. So
surgeries and stuff like that. So.
Right. Yeah. As far as I know, there's been no corrective issue to it at all. So, C. Spencer, good question. How big is the gap between Ronnie Stanley and Orlando Brown?
It's pretty good. It's a pretty good size gap, guys.
I mean, it's not enormous. There is a gap there. I'm more concerned about the gap in the offense. Yeah. In the way that he was asked to move in Baltimore versus what he's going to be asked to do in this offense. That's where my concern is.
I agree. I think that Stanley's an all-pro, like caliber every single year type of left tackle. Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily think that Orlando Brown's there yet, but we haven't seen him in this system yet. So it's going to be interesting to see, like you said, the dynamics of what the Chiefs ask him to do versus what he's actually capable of doing.
Yeah. I think they're a little closer than Dan does, but it's really going to be about how he fits with Andy and this team. Andy and Andy. That's what it's going to be. Aaron, is DOD finally gone? I don't think so. I think he's got 9 lives and he's used 7 or 8 of them, but he's got 1 left.
I don't even think he's used that many because Tobe is all about special teams guys, and he's going to be able to use him. And he brings a lot of versatility to special teams, and that's just kind of the way that it is. He knows it back and front and back. He's a fast guy. You can use guys that have that kind of speed and your instincts in a lot of different ways, especially on special teams. So I think he is probably just going to be one of those guys that lingers, much like Dan Sorensen, but he's actually playing on the defense.
Scott, with the whole COVID variant going on, can the league go back to minimum capacity? Will fans have to show the vaccination card? I don't think that's in the cards at all. The last thing in the world the league wants to do is limit fan capacity in any way, shape, or form. I think what will be more likely is you're going to see masking. They're going to say, come on in. Maybe they'll social distance as well, which means you're going to have some expansion. I think you'll see some things that maybe are what do they call the yellow seats? The premier level, whatever, that middle tier at Arrowhead. Like a lot of those go unfilled on a weekly basis because there's some corporate seats up there. I think you'll see those expand a little bit. But I think masking is what they will recommend because, quite frankly, it's outdoors. And the bigger concern is that people that are vaccinated are getting this new variant. So I don't know. But they will not voluntarily leave one seat empty if they don't have to.
Especially after they've opened it up to basically everybody. They're not going to walk it back.
Yeah. They are not that easygoing. Football fan, nice to see you. I'm glad you made it back. Michael, Uncle D's. See, everyone tells me Uncle D's, and then like I called them before training camp, like in 19. They're like, we don't do private parties, or maybe we just I wasn't big enough or whatever. But we'll see. I just don't want to tell everybody to go to a bar and like show up and have kids there and that kind of stuff. So we'll try to put something together if we can all coordinate our timing. Gary, who'll be the strength of the defense? Ooh, that's a good one, Dan. What do you got? What's the best unit on this defense right now?
It's even though corner's like the weakest position, it's the secondary. You have three, in my opinion, three legit studs in the secondary with Snead and Thornhill and Matthew. Those are guys that are probably going to be Pro Bowls and that might even make two All-Pros. I think Thornhill can be an All-Pro safety, and I think that even Snead can be an All-Pro corner. So I think that's the best 1, 2, 3 guys they have, like in terms of being at the next anywhere in the defense in the NFL they can play and they can lock guys down. So I would say the secondary.
Yeah, I'd say it's slightly stronger right now too, because I mean, let's be honest, it sucks that they might be without Frank Clark for some time. We don't know that that's true, but even if he hasn't been as productive lately. So it is more about Chris. And I like Jaron Reed, but he's not a 12 sack guy. He's not a 60 pressure guy. He's not going to be. And that's okay from his spot. He's going to do his thing, and that's going to help everyone else. So yeah, I think I would agree, and definitely the linebacker would be the last group right now because it's literally all question marks outside of Hitch. I mean, don't be surprised if Ben Neiman lost 15 pounds. He might be as quick as he was in 18 and 19, and that might be functional again.
Yeah, if you guys remember, he was asked, he just kind of bulked up to try to stop the run. He learned that it didn't help him at all, and now he might go back down and be a little bit quicker. So, I mean, he might get more snaps this year.
Yeah, you never know. Addicted to capping. What are the realistic expectations for Cornell Powell? Well, realistic are going to be two different versions in this show.
It's very true.
What do you got, Dan? What do you got?
Okay, so I'm going to give you my optimistic, realistic expectation. I think he could actually carve out the fourth option role by midseason. That's what you're looking for from your number two, because you already have Kelsey, you've got Hill. I think that Clyde is going to be the third option in this offense, and I know a lot of people don't expect that because Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback of this offense. But let's go back to 2018. Kareem Hunt was destroying people in the passing game, and he was racking up touchdowns. So that's just – I know that they're two different backs. But again, the running backs produce. That's what they do. I think last year was an anomaly, and I think he's going to be the third option. So Cornell could actually – if he's stable, because we haven't seen stability from Hardman, from Robinson. We haven't seen it from Pringle, even though I think that he's – a viable option as the fourth guy, but I think that Powell has the talent that none of those three guys have, and he could actually carve out that role.
I won't argue with you in terms of market share. That certainly makes sense. And let's remember, Kareem Hunt is like not. If I remember their athleticism right, Kareem Hunt's not ahead of CH. They are almost dead even in terms of athletics.
Yeah, they're very similar types of.
Yeah.
Build.
Now I will give Kareem. One very important caveat that he is better at tracking the ball over his shoulder than Clyde is from the film that I've seen. So on that skinny post against the Patriots and that kind of stuff, like literally inside the hashes, like he tracked it really well. I thought Clyde's good, but he's not as good. that's really the only differentiator. Everything else they do very, very similarly, in my opinion. I mean, contact balance being what it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, contact balance with Kareem was like an elite thing. Like he had elite contact balance. He still does, but
yeah,
I think in retrospect, he's a much better passer than I expected coming out, Kareem Hunt, and I think that a pass catcher, and the catch against the Chargers is always going to come on my mind with Clyde. Like that was, he may have not have done exactly over the shoulder, but he spun into the ball. He spun into it. So I think that the ability is there to use him the same kind of ways down the field. He's a little bit shorter, obviously, but the quickness, the burst, it's all there.
Yeah. And they'll get yak in very different ways, but they'll probably both get yak. So I'm okay with that. A bunch of questions here. They're all kind of around the summer thing. Steven, Mez, Ian, it is all about who becomes that and whether Powell can do it or not. So those are all kind of tied together. I think it is a true competition. He's, in terms of learning the offense, he's being a rookie. He's obviously behind Pringle and Robinson. That's just the way that it's going to be. This will be a good test. This camp, that's one of the positions that we're going to truly see a camp battle. See who gets there. Cole, project Frank's sack total along with Jaron Reed's sack total. Them being teammates in Seattle's booth. Yeah, I will tell you this. When they played together, they helped each other be better. I don't know how much Frank's going to be available, and I don't know if he's healthy. If he's back to the health that he was in Seattle, I will say 12-5. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, it really just depends on what Frank Clark shows up. If the guy that, is all about the playoff and doesn't care so much about the regular season, I think he's going to have 8 sacks, like at the most. But if he comes out to play to actually kind of prove a lot of people wrong and actually has a lot of motivation this season, I think he could get the double-digit 12, 13-ish area, like where he's been most of his career with Seattle. I think that's very reasonable.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. By the way, Cole is in the Discord. You guys, if you want to join that Discord member perk, get into that rookie section. Ben Bratbeck, you have an invite out there as well. I know Holly's in there. Holly made it into the chat as well. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing better. Ian, this is pretty easy for me, only because I know what their times are on the track. So Jamal wins. He has to stride it out. I think it's the back 40 yards is where he gets him, but
yeah, it's a tough one. I haven't seen. It would be fun. Let's just say that I would give the edge to Tyreek just because of the ground he's going to cover in the first 30.
Yeah,
even though Jamal's burst is incredible, Tyreek's is a different type, and I think that would be enough just to eke out. But again, that would be something to see them in their primes to race. That would be so much fun.
And that's true. I didn't say that. I mean Jamal in his prime. Jamal's knees now, it is not a contest. Tyreek runs away from him.
It's like watching that Robert Griffin run where, say, he ran like a 4.3 something. We watched that. We watched that. Dude, you didn't run that.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Do you think that the D position is going to get 15 sacks this year?
Yeah, I do. I think that Taco's going to get quite a lot more than people think.
I will say defensive ends will combine for more than 20.
Yeah, I like that. I think that projecting some improvement from Dana is pretty much what does this. But I think the Taco is going to be a pass rush specialist. He was the most efficient pass rusher last year before he got hurt. And I think that the way that they use his rotation will allow him to do what he does best, which is rush the passer. Yeah.
Well, for me, it's Reed's presence. I think that takes a lot of the pressure and a lot of the doubles off the edges.
Man.
That's perfect.
When they put Reed and Jones on the inside, that defensive ends are going to feast. They're just going to feast.
It's going to be pretty. What day do you want to do the meetup? Monday would be best for me personally. I got access. I have to build up points to get access, you guys. So I didn't have the Chiefs reward stuff before this. Right now I have a ticket to Monday and I have a ticket to Tuesday. I will likely be there Wednesday, the last day of camp as well. We could definitely do something like that. If we're in Kansas City, we could do it over the weekend as well. I believe the first preseason game is Saturday night. Oh, and by the way, the league announced that they're doing this huge onslaught of live NFL games for NFL channel, except Chiefs only get one. So I think that they're putting them on prime time so much in the regular season. I don't think the preseason is going to get much attention. So just wanted you guys to know that. Who do you see as the biggest threat in the AFC? Right now, I still think it's probably the Titans.
Yeah, I think we had a similar question last week, and I don't remember exactly what I said. My opinion on this fluctuates week to week. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I really think that the Browns are going to be a very competitive AFC team this year. I think that they're exceptional. Kevin Stefanski is the coach for that team, and I really think that they're going to be very good.
Yeah, I can get down with that. Aaron, if he comes back, he will come back to the Chiefs.
Yeah,
I'm not sold he'll ever be healthy enough to play again. Better all-time Chief, Smith or Green?
Good question.
Not for me. It's Green pretty easily.
I don't disagree. For me, the whole losing culture that came after Green, and he was kind of a part of it too. And then you brought in Alex Smith to bring stability to the organization, helping hand off to Mahomes. It's a little different for me. He kind of brought Chiefs football back in a way. But if we're talking about just like better quarterbacks, Trent Green is so underappreciated as a quarterback.
Yeah. I'll tell you guys this. So I play this is year 21 of my fantasy league. I only play one anymore because I don't have the time for it. It's like a 7-year redraft mini dynasty league. And we still call that league Trent Green is God. They named it that the first year, and it's never gone away. So that should tell you things.
I'm looking for Trent Green L22 if anybody got it.
Right? Avery, nice to see you. Julian, nice to see you. You guys both have invites in your inboxes, by the way, for the Discord. Let's see here. And folks, I am going to be staggering that out and trying to get as many. If you are a starter level or a rookie level, make sure you get me your contact information. That's rgrpodcasts@gmail.com. And that will come over to me, and we will start getting those out as we go through. Right now, I believe all the elites and all the all-pro level members have their invites sent out. Leon, how are you? Melvin Ingram signs the Steelers, Tim Ward and Kando expectations. I think one of them makes the roster. I'm leaning towards Kando, but I'm not sure.
I'm leaning towards Ward making the roster.
Are you? Okay.
I am. I really liked what I saw last year, even that little tiny bit. And I know that they're pretty high on him. And again, these defensive ends all have that girth, that length that Spags wants. And I think that Tim just having that edge in the system already and knowing it kind of gives it to him. But you never really know with these end of roster guys. It's going to be interesting.
I'm with you. It's a position they need help. Bruce, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Oh, I missed 2 of them then. No, 3. Ben, did you send a second one? Ben Brotbeck, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's get DTKC. Not sure if you went over this, but what's the latest on the Frank Clark situation? Nothing's changed. That charge is still out there. Nothing on the second incident that we know of, and the NFL has not said a peep. I'm waiting to see if they even address it. We will have a presser. I believe it's going to be quarterbacks and rookies report on Friday. I believe it's going to be Monday. So maybe we'll get an update at that point, you guys, but nothing else has been in the air. But thank you for your super chat. Appreciate it, DT. Brian Case, thank you as well. I didn't see a question from you. I will try to see if there's anything down. Guys, as we talk, it kind of skips around, so you might have to throw your questions back in there. But Bruce, what's your bold prediction for the 2021 season for the Chiefs? What do you got, Dan? Bold.
It's going to be really bold. The Chiefs are going to lead the NFL in interceptions.
Thrown or caught?
Caught. Not
okay,
thrown.
Just checking.
Yeah, I think Snead, Thornhill, Matthew are going to be a force. I think even Willie, if he gets some in the way of some passes, is going to bring down some interceptions. But those 3 are going to have a lot.
Wow, that's pretty good. I will tell you this. The way that I'm looking at it, I think the Chiefs have a shot, and I'll just say it if I'm going to be bold. The Chiefs have players that win the MVP and the Offensive Player of the Year, and they're not the same guy.
That'd be awesome.
Now, hopefully the defense can try to stay up. We'll see what happens. Thank you, Bruce. Man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bruce.
Addicted. What's the realistic expectation? Okay, we got that one. I'm sorry I'm so slow. That's why. Michael Ford, as a strength conditioning guru, I wouldn't call myself a guru, but how difficult is it for a retired player to get back into shape for the grind? That's the key. Your body, it stops metabolizing as well. It stops rebuilding itself as well when you hit certain age points. Everyone talks about the magic number for running backs is 30, right? Linemen can last a little bit longer because they're a little more power based. They don't take the physical pounding as much. It's difficult. Kyle Long has a shot. Trying to think of who else, like Dan Sorensen's getting to the end. You can see how he's not quite as resilient as he used to be. I'm trying to think who you might be thinking of, Michael. Hit me down below if you have a specific person in mind. If Kyle Long comes back and is a starter for a season, it's going to be impressive from a number of different ways, but particularly from a physical one, because it is difficult. It's a great question. Hey, Danilo's back. How are you, buddy?
How's it going, man?
The gap between Brown and Stanley, both Pro Bowlers, Orlando on both sides, and the young guy isn't coming off of a broken leg. Hey, yeah, I mean, broken bones hurt. They make things more difficult.
Yeah, but we're not talking about players coming off. I'm just talking about total player equity, essentially, like what they eventually could be.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think they're both really, really good. I don't see it as a huge gap. I am a little bit concerned about Brown's tendency to reach. And I think he's got to emphasize his footwork a little bit more in Kansas City than he did in Baltimore. That's the transition. I think he's perfectly capable of doing it. And I think working with Andy and Andy is going to happen. So I do think he will be an all-pro at the position. Charles, what's up with Jody Fortson? And I wish I knew.
There's no way to know, man. It's unfortunate.
Chiefs PR keeps listing him as a wide receiver. I know for a fact he was in the tight end meeting rooms all second half of last season and all off season. If he walks out there and takes reps at wide receiver, he's done. He doesn't have a chance in that group.
Nope.
If he's going to make this roster, if he's going to make this practice squad, it's got to be as a tight end. And it's a little bit of a fish out of water. They tried to do that his senior year, made that transition. Then the Chiefs took him back to wide receiver. Now they got him back. Like, I just don't know.
It's like those players like DOD, like they're in-betweeners. And it's for some offenses and defenses, it's hard to find spots for him. And unfortunately, he's not, fast enough to play wide receiver. He's not big enough, like stocky enough to really play tight end. And it's just hard to find a spot for him.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, Charles. I'm pulling for him.
Me too.
That's the best I can give you. Stevie, is that true? I did not know that. That's their business guy. That's interesting. Okay, I missed something. Oh, it's from Miss Holly. Missed the super chat. Thank you, Holly. Appreciate the support as always. Who of last year's rookies do you think will have a breakout season? You first.
I mean, we all know who I'm going to say because I've been talking about him all off season. It's going to be Clyde. He's going to be incredible. I think he's going to be top 7, 8 in rushing on the year. And I think he's going to be among the leaders in total yards in the NFL for running backs.
I like that. I have my fingers crossed. I just hope they give him the touches. That's my only concern with that.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. My boy Snead is going to have a great season. I can't call it a breakout, though, because he played really well last year. I think the guy that breaks out is Willie Gay. If he just put it together mentally, he is the best athlete at the second level that they have. And quite frankly, he's the best all-around player physically. If he's just got to know where to be. And I think he's had finally an offseason. He didn't have it as a rookie. I really think he's going to put it together, and it's going to be explosive.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Julian,
great question. I'd mostly keep him for Hicks after next year for Hitchens. What would you say? It would be with the Chiefs focus, would allow the Chiefs to focus on D-line and corners and the wide receiver. Yeah, I mean, I like Hicks as well. I don't think KJ Wright's signed yet either. But
no, I don't think so.
I don't think KJ fits what they want to do, though.
I also don't think he's got time left.
Well, yeah, no, he's got like a season or maybe 2. That's it. So, like, yeah, I'm with you, Julian. If you got a little bit of a tread, but they seem not only they're bought into Willie, they are sold. I mean, all the way sold on Nick Bolton. So I don't think they're going to do anything to take reps away from those guys.
No.
I mean, if one of them pulls a hamstring in camp, though, I think it could definitely be on the table because any especially soft tissue injury that might linger or get re-injured, they're going to need another guy at that spot. So here's crossing our fingers. Jake, thank you for the support. Appreciate the super chat. So what happens if Orlando doesn't work out? Say we get to week 6 and Mahomes is getting absolutely worked on that side. Who's the next man up? Right now, it's Niang. Because right now, Remmers is starting. If Niang wins that job and is the starting right tackle, then it will be Remmers. And
I don't know about
that. Who else are you going to put there?
I would put Niang over there and put Remmers back at right tackle. That's what I would do.
I don't think they will. I think they learned their lesson that if they can replace one guy and not disrupt multiple positions with one change, I don't think they'll do it.
The way he played at left tackle last year, I wouldn't touch it.
I don't know that I would either. And I don't think – I mean, they could keep Yasser Durant. I think he's going to be a practice squatter, though. So I wouldn't want to do that either.
I mean, if Long is ready to go, put him at left tackle. But I don't
see. Now that's a change. I'd rather see him at right and let Remmers move over to left in that situation.
No, I don't see it not working out. I'll say that.
Yeah, I don't either. But in terms of like long term, Jake, they're going to have a decision. If he plays as well as we expect him to, it's going to be about franchise or extension. So if he were to completely flop, they're out of the contract if they want to be.
Yeah.
They're under no obligation. So it's a good position for the team to be in. Danilo said Hunt was better at tracking the ball and a stronger power back a little bit. Yeah, I mean, Clyde makes his money inside by ducking his shoulders, and I think, getting smaller, I like that, especially with the way that the interior has been blocking the last couple of years. I'm excited to see Clyde get a wide open hole.
I am too. Like, if you guys have watched any of his tape from LSU, when there's a hole there, he is one of the most explosive players. He's literally at the second level in a sec. It's not even a second. He's there. He is that quick through a hole. So when he doesn't have to shimmy, when he doesn't have to squeeze through, when he doesn't have to get out of someone's way, when he can just go, oh man, it's beautiful.
Then you're going to see broken ankles in the hole because he's going to cut linebackers out of their shoes. It's going to be crazy.
His full speed agility is next level.
Yeah, it's impressive. Michael, you have a fair point. I think Danilo's interested to see if he's going to stand up too. I still feel that it's mostly on the line, so I'm excited to see this. I think Clyde's pretty comfortable with guys like pulling in front of him and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, you see Tooney come through, or you see Creed out on the edge, like they can literally hide Clyde behind him. This is going to work.
They're not going to know. They're not going to know where he is.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be beautiful. I mean, it's not going to be as beautiful as running him 20 times a game, but I can't have everything.
They still could run him 20 times a game. Depends on how fast his offense is.
True. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate you getting me back up to track. Dre, I wonder if Dieter will ever see the field. I don't think so.
Nope.
I don't think he makes the roster. If he makes the practice squad, it's because he's somebody's pal. Because he doesn't have the talent to compete with the top 8 wide receivers in this group. It's just the way it is. Yeah. We just keep coming back to reality's reality.
This is what it is, man.
Oh, Max, what are your NFL comparisons to some of our rookies? How about floor and ceiling? I don't know. Do you have anything that sticks out, Dan?
I'm not a huge comp person myself. I try to just evaluate a player for what they are, and sometimes, you'll be reminded of certain things. But for the most part, I try to just tell you what a player does well, what they don't do well. I try not to compare them to other players, because even a little bit, I think that puts something in somebody's head that say you compare a player to an Antonio Brown or things like that. Even if it's just a little implication or a little bit in their game, I think sometimes they can lead people down. Or let people down. I try not to do that with what I do. So I can't tell you that I do many NFL comps, so I could give you much on that.
Yeah, I don't do a ton of them myself, because especially if it's an upgrade, if you're comparing to a guy that's like a perennial good player, that kind of thing. I don't like putting that pressure on dudes.
Yeah.
I will say the guy that I wrote down most in my notes comparing Creed Humphrey to was Ryan Kelly.
I can see that.
Who hasn't been great, but he's been really solid. I think Creed will be a better player. So yeah, there's a positive comparison that I can throw out. Greatest running back in Chiefs history. I mean, do I have to pick one?
No.
Okay.
Just the running back position in Chiefs history. I mean, it's among the best in the NFL, like collectively. The talent, all that stuff, it's there.
Yeah, I mean, you can argue Delaney, you can argue Okoye.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go anywhere, but I mean,
the most talented was Jamal, though. Like I think that's pretty set in stone.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I was a big Kibble Anders fan at the time too. I'll tell you that. And it's funny how he was successful just enough to make you think he could have been more, but really it was about that line.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I don't know. The greatest, it's got to be probably Jamal. Jamal should be a Hall of Famer just based on his yards per carry, especially when he didn't get to play with that monster line forever. What did he get? A season?
A season. He got one season. I'm not going to lie. I think LJ could have been the best.
Yeah, he had pretty good balance physically. If he had somebody else's head attached to his shoulders, it probably would have helped him get through that better. Seems like he's on the right track now, though. So, I mean, I'm okay with that. Robert, we're not haters at all. We tell you the truth in terms of how we evaluate players.
I don't hate Dan Sorensen.
Not at all. No. I like the guy. I root for him. I root for any dude that can come in as a safety, gain weight, and end up a linebacker.
Yeah. His story it's truly incredible when you think about what he's done, where he came from, and the fact that no one really wanted him. Andy Reid was like, hey, you just come here. I'll take you in. It's just, you have to acknowledge the player that he is. He does have some instinctual upside, and you can see as his athleticism is going down, it's just not as quick as it used to be. And yeah, he makes plays.
Yeah.
He also doesn't make a lot of plays.
He has a splash for the spectacular.
Yes.
His day-to-day consistency is not what you need it to be. I will tell you this. The best thing about Dan Sorensen, he has consistently outplayed everything that he's been giving in terms of a chance, of an expectation, of an evaluation. He is an overachiever.
One of the hardest workers in probably the NFL.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Film room, working out, getting to be able to play it continuously, be like a starter and essentially a starter, a third safety or linebacker, whatever you need. It's impressive.
Yeah. And he is also Danilo's personal, what is that called? Spirit animal.
Yeah.
I had to put that out there. Here's a hard one. How many sacks could Gay and Bolton get combined?
However many Gay gets.
Yeah.
I don't see Bolton playing much this year. That's all. That's not saying Bolton can't blitz, because he can blitz.
He can.
He just gets hit by a lineman. He might just fall over.
That's the thing, is like he doesn't survive the contact with inside the line very well. So it's got to be pretty big gap. But it depends how much they blitz him. I'm hopeful that they start blitzing linebackers and save off some of the DB blitzes.
Yeah.
If they do that, I think they could combine for 5 or 6 sacks probably.
I was going to say 6. So yeah,
okay.
I think that I'm right there with you.
What do you think about CH getting 1,000 yards and McKinnon getting at least 700? That's a lot of yards rushing in an Andy Reid offense. That ain't going to happen.
Nope. I don't even think McKinnon's going to be able to combine that many total yards this year. I think that he's a nice player. I think that both him and Williams almost split their time as a change of pace backup running back. And I truly believe that CEH will run the most routes out of anybody. So it really just depends on what ends up happening. Now, if McKinnon gets that third down role like solidified, that changes things. But there's so much to really find out with McKinnon because of his injury history. All that stuff is going to play into it.
Cole, good question. What former player would you like to see be the next GM? I assume you mean of the Chiefs or just in general a GM?
In general.
Okay, let's go general. What do you got?
Ugh, you go first because I'm not
I can't decide. I got 2.
Then say both of them.
The best guy right now, I think, that is not currently in an organization is Louis Riddick. He can evaluate talent. He understands how to put a team together. He understands the business side. I think the guy that's going to make waves, he started out as a scout, I think, last year or a special assistant or something. I think Luke Kuechly is going to be a GM in this league eventually. He has a mind for this sport all the way around. He's got to learn a lot of things about the business, about how to evaluate, but he knows this game almost as well as she does.
Yeah. Louis Riddick would have been the only guy that I could really think of, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of another former player. I don't know. There's a bunch of guys that right now are trying to become low-level scouts, low-level coaches. A lot of interesting guys coming back into the league right now. DTKC, thank you again. Second one from you. I appreciate that. I think the Chargers are going to be the biggest threat this year against us and all the players they obtained. What are your thoughts and views? I mean, it all comes down to one thing. Are they the Chargers? Do they have their whole roster? If they stay healthy, I agree with you definitely in the AFC West, and I think they can probably beat the Bills. I think they can probably beat anybody else in the East. I don't know that their defense is stout enough to stop the Titans. I think everyone is underestimating the effect of Julio Jones in Tennessee, you guys. I think AJ's going to eat because they cannot afford to ignore Julio. So I think it balances their offense a bit. I'm nervous about the Titans. But I agree with you. The Chargers are right there if they're healthy.
Yeah, it's really going to be about what happens with Justin Herbert. I think that their team is great. If he continues to take steps forward and he doesn't just kind of stay stagnant, and because he was one of the most accurate quarterbacks in tight windows last year. He was very accurate. That's going to see some regression just because it naturally corners will start to get the idea that you're trying to throw into those tight windows. So they're going to start throwing hands and start looking for the ball a little bit more. So it's about adapting to the next step and finding, moving defensive players with your eyes like Mahomes does all the time. Hold safety here, throw it the other way. Like he's got to adapt a little bit that way. And if he continues that upstretch, even without the defense being what I think it could be, they're going to be very, very good.
I'm with you. I'm going to address this. I mean, you're absolutely right, Avery. If they do get that thing fixed and they can run the ball a little bit like they want to, they're going to be dangerous. They're going to have to because Ben ain't got it no more. In my opinion. But that's hey.
I mean, as long as he's throwing the ball 2.5 yards in front of him, it'd be all right.
Yeah. I'm going to address this. Kansas City Chiefs, you get a little shook up real quick. The way this works is there's so many questions here. As I scroll, I miss some of those things. All you got to do is ask it again. Or let Aaron know. I know that you like to get your questions in there, and I will try to answer them. But there are a lot of other folks too, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. So hit me with the question again. Let Aaron know, and I'll make sure that I get it before we're done. And we are almost done. Michael, if the Chiefs lose the playoff game to the Browns last season, who goes to the Super Bowl, the Browns or Bills?
The Browns.
See, I would disagree with that. I don't think that their secondary can withstand Josh Allen.
I don't think the Bills defense does anything. It would be a shootout.
It would, yeah.
First to 50.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's a good point. I would have taken the Bills, though. That would have been an interesting bet between us. Scott, is Mike Dan a sleeper? Haven't heard much about him lately. He's a grinder, man.
I can't wait. I think he's going to be – I think he's going to have a very, very good season.
I agree. I am hopeful for that. Matthew, thank you very much. I hope to run into you guys as well. You guys will know if anybody's interested in being there when I'm there. I will let you know when I'm going to be in camp. Right now, it's Monday. I think it's the 16th, and Tuesday the 17th. The 2 days I have a ticket to. I'm going to try to get to the 18th as well. If not, I'll be flying back out of there. So, let's see. Jimmy, over under Gay has 3 picks, 2 forced fumbles, and a TD. Ooh.
That's like the line that I would have picked. Like,
I know, me too. That's exactly it. Good job, Jimmy.
What I would have said. Asking the tough questions, man.
I'm going to take the under. I'm going to say he only has 2 picks, but the rest I'm with you on.
I'm going to go over with the forced fumbles.
Okay.
I think that's what would take it over. That's a great line, Jimmy. I appreciate that.
That was
real tough.
Was good. Dang. Okay. He agrees on CEH. Greg Hill 2.0. I haven't thought about that guy forever. John, nothing about Baker or Malik other than Baker put something on social media a few weeks ago. That's all I've seen. Ben, he's at the bottom.
Yeah.
He makes it. Yeah, he and Kando are battling. You have Taco, Dana, And maybe Treshaun Wharton at end on that depth chart ahead of him. Evidently, they started repping him a lot during minicamp at end as well. I think maybe because of Frank, I don't know. Let's see. Scott, how well is Noah Gray running his routes and blocking? No idea. It was a very much a passing camp, so it was just vague routes. I'll tell you this. I am working to finish his all 22 review. I finally got enough films to at least do one. They're of the same team, 2 consecutive seasons. So that has a nice little carryover and a consistency, but there's almost no Duke all 22 available that I can find, you guys. And I'll tell you this, his routes need work. So that is one of the things that it's going to be on the development plan for him. Red Zone, how are you? If you had to give Houston to KC a chance of happening, what would it be? 5% is about right. It's not it'll never happen, but there's going to have to be some smoothing. There's going to have to be some crow eating, I'm pretty sure.
The fact that he's still out there is kind of mind-blowing. I'm not going to lie. He was very good the last 2 years. He was really good, really, for the Colts.
He was good for 5 games last year. I think he came out with like 6 sacks or something like that, and then he got like 18 pressures in the last 10 weeks. He fell off a cliff.
That's way better than a lot of other players.
True. But I've talked to multiple guys that cover the Colts, and they don't think he's going to get another contract.
You would only need him for whatever you're missing. If you miss Frank Clark, like that's all you're going to ask for him if you were talking about him anyway. So I get
Good
it.
Point. Nick Bolton's ceiling, what do you got? Is it Eric Kendricks?
I don't think so. I don't think he's nearly as good in pass coverage as Eric Kendricks is. So it's really hard for me to tell you what it is because I haven't seen him in a defense that fits him because I don't think last year's Missouri defense fit him. So it's going to be really kind of a learning curve for me this year to see what he can do if they get him on the field and then in practice going into next year because I think he was a pick for next year. So if he hasn't played much this year, it's really just going to be kind of we don't know.
The guy that he reminds me of the much, I always forget this, and it just came to me, is Jared Mayo, who used to be in New England.
Yeah.
I can. He was good for a couple seasons that he kind of fell down. Like, I'm not sure. Like, it's going to be teeter-totter, I think. No. Curtis, you have a good point. We didn't consider Marcus Allen because obviously he was only a couple of seasons at KC, and we're not going to give the Raiders that kind of satisfaction. There are Raiders fan lurking in here in this chat right now. I guarantee you guys. So not going to make them that happy.
Nope.
Holly, I missed it. What are the potential dates for training camp meetup? I'm going to be there 16th, 17th. I'll probably come in a day early at least. That is of August. That is the last couple days. So they play, I think it's the 14th is the Saturday, I think, of the first preseason game. I always wait until after the first preseason game. So there's only 3 days left to camp at that point. And so that's where I'm aiming at. That's what we're thinking of. And I'll let you guys know if there's a destination we can try to do. I don't know. Dan's got all the hookups in town with barbecue joints and stuff.
I have one. I have one.
Well, we'll see what we can do, you guys, or at least tell you where there's a destination and we'll all just, make our way. Who has a better run game plan, Marty or Andy? It's 2 different eras. Marty could not do what he did now. I'll tell you that. But Marty was way more about running the ball.
Again, era makes the argument for you, technically speaking. But I think Andy's been more multiple with the running backs he's had, gotten the most out of the players that he's had. Mm-hmm. I don't think that Marty could have gotten anything out of Spencer Ware and Charkandrick West. That's just to say that. I think that the way that Andy has adapted his offense to use guys like him and get the most out of them speaks a lot to what he's able to do.
That's a good point. If you guys would smash that thumb, as Aaron said, I like using the word smash now.
Just don't smash mine, okay?
Right? Yeah, let's keep that. It's not like a hammer. But thank you guys. We got a couple more questions. We got one more super chat, and then we'll wrap it up for the night. Because my kids are getting hungry, I'm sure. Maz, will Mahomes break the passing record?
Eventually.
Oh, yeah. I think he's talking about this season.
Oh, this season. I don't think it's going to be this year. I think it's going to be next year.
I think so, too. I think he needs a third target that is established.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a little hunt and peck this year. Powell, Pringle, Robinson. I think you're going to see some guys rotate until somebody steps forward and takes it. I don't know.
It's going to be interesting. Someone might do it this year, but I don't know if it's going to be Patrick.
Okay, fair enough. Who will be the Chiefs' biggest opponent in the AFC West? AFC West or NFC West for the toughest division? I think the NFC West is falling down right now. So I'll take AFC West for that. But toughest is going to be the Chargers until they prove that they're falling apart again.
So why is the NFC West falling apart?
Garoppolo
is not their quarterback.
Well, you don't know that. Shanahan won't say that Trey gets to play. So until he does, I am too. We ought to be. Drives me insane. You drafted the kid, just name him the dang starter. Drives me nuts. Trey Lance will be my fantasy quarterback to back up Mahomes. And yes, for those of you, and I know at least 2 of you are here in that Dynasty League, I am coming for all of you. I will not lose again. I lost in the championship game by 2 points last year, folks. Sorry, I'm a little bitter about it. That's a fair point, Danilo. I heard that he wants to coach. I also heard he wants to do media as well, like call games. So
I think he tried out for Fox or CBS.
Yeah, right.
Not too long ago. So
let's see. Adam Ingram helped Pittsburgh. Should we have gotten him? I mean, they had their opportunity. There was either price tag or ability that they didn't like. So it is what it is. They have had ample time since the Frank thing. If they wanted to go get him, they could have done it in the last week, and they didn't. So I think they're going to be okay. I don't know that he's going to help much. He has a lot of injury history, you guys. Projecting him to be a consistent player is tough. Let's see. Michael, tight end 2 behind his Tannehill match throws with PM. No, Tannehill's nowhere near the arm that Patrick is. But they have balance, and they have guys that will win contested catches in Julio and AJ. I think, honestly, the thing they might miss is their tight end work. They had some guys at tight end that could actually make some decent plays. I don't think they have the talent there right now, but
they have one guy.
They
still have Firkser.
Oh, do they? I thought he moved on. My fault.
No, Firkser's still there.
Is this a loop? Only in my head, Jack.
Every day.
Haven't we learned to listen from the Chargers yet? Every year. Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing is,
not wrong.
Have they learned their lesson? Because as soon as they do and they can keep their team healthy, they are competitive.
If they still have the same staff, then no, they didn't learn their lesson.
Evidently, they switched out their head trainer and their team physician.
Then we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't necessarily mean an upgrade. It just means they're different.
Yeah.
Addicted. If Clark has to miss half the season, who on the roster can fill that role? It'll be a mix, in my opinion, of Dana and Taco.
Yeah, that's exactly what, because you have, especially if Dana hasn't taken a next step in the pass rush department, then you have a player in both of those guys, because Dana can stop the run and Taco can come in and rush the passer. So,
yeah, I'm with you. First 3 games, I'm saying 3-0.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it's going to go, right?
Don't get me wrong. I think the Browns or the Ravens can proceed to the point where they can be competitive in the postseason, but off the bat, nobody's walking in to be able to put up points like the Chiefs are going to be able
bad.
to. Yeah.
It's a rough go for the Browns and the Ravens, who just can't get off the schneid against the Chiefs. They can't beat them because they also keep getting matched up against them earlier in the season.
Jack, curious about next year's cap situation. I believe they're sitting at about 27 in cap space for 2022. Don't quote me on that. I haven't looked at it in a few weeks.
I think he's just talking about overall cap.
Oh.
Maybe.
Okay. I mean, Mahomes' contract is going up. It's going to be 28, 29 against the cap in 22. Chris is going to start climbing. Like, the discounted seasons are passing now, so I'm not sure. I can pull that up and look it up for you guys for Thursday. Seth will be back. Chief in the North on Thursday nights. Don't forget that one. Let's see. Curtis, thoughts on Peyton and Eli doing the alternate Monday Night Football? That was announced today too.
I'm so excited.
I'm actually encouraged by that. I don't know if any of you guys watched that like silly game show, the college thing that Peyton did. I want to see Cooper call games. I think that dude's funny.
I think all 3 of them should be doing something. They're funny guys. Like, Eli is a master of social media.
Yeah, he is pretty good at it.
He's pretty good at it
for a guy who's a little light in the personality department. That's it's a pretty good feat. TPT, they have had some turnover in terms of their internal media department, as I'm understanding. I don't know what they had that franchise series that they did training camp or two ago. They could do that. I just don't know that they will. Max, Jody Fortson is nowhere near a fullback. Nah. If anything, he is between that tight end and wide receiver body. Danilo, Trey should sit for a year behind Jimmy. Oh, no. I don't think so. I'd rather throw him into the fire. With Shanahan and his ability to adapt to play call to his – I would put him in tomorrow.
Yeah, and
Garoppolo is – I would have traded Jimmy Garoppolo by now for a hot sandwich.
Yeah. Just give me a bag of chips to –
right? Okay, you got to have the chips too. Selfish. Jeez, Dan.
I'm saying just a bag of chips would have been fine with me.
Oh, okay. Down with you. Okay.
Trey Lance should be the starter day one in that offense because not only are you talking about rushing upside with Lance, angles now get screwed up too because he's still a good passer. You can fake you could do almost like a triple option offense with him if you wanted to. It would be insane.
Aaron, would you throw Kansas City Chiefs question at me one last time? I'm going to answer the super chat, and then I think we are out. I think I've covered most everyone else's questions. I think I covered Danilo and Jimmy on the AFC West stuff. Okay, good. Lots of people talk about who can knock them off. Who is it? Who is your knockoff team?
It's the LA Rams. They match up defensively well with what the Chiefs want to do offensively. I think that would give them the best. And then Matt Stafford with that offense, with McShay as the offensive coordinator, that's a version of what we saw in 2018 in terms of the explosive competitiveness game it could be. It would be a little bit better defensively, I think, but those are the two teams I think that's the one team I think can actually give them a run if they're both playing at their best.
Yeah. Those two guys I think are going to multiply each other.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize they had such a personal connection. I think that's going to be dangerous. Do they have the talent to capitalize on it? I think Cooper Kupp's a great receiver, but I don't know that his ability really gives Stafford the best target to maximize his ability. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is the best chance for Matt Stafford to play 17 games that he's ever had.
They're going to be good.
They might. Michael, would it be better to wait for camp cuts rather than signing Houston? Most likely. And I think that might be part of it too. If you wait until after week one, anybody you sign, their contracts are not guaranteed. And that is a business decision that the Chiefs have used in the past that has affected some of their signing timing. So that could be true. I think that is all the super chats. That is most of the questions. Tom asked one, do you see us having any player on the defense that will ever match DT? No.
They don't make them like that anymore.
Nope. There was only one Lawrence Taylor. There's only one Derek Thomas. I don't think you're ever going to see the likes of them again. Oh, you were right, Dan. Right now they have 19. I thought it was down. I thought it was 27. Okay. So guys, it's 19 and 20 and 22. So we'll get there. Okay. That is the last of our questions. I think we covered it all. Thank you, Aaron. And he tried looking for Casey Chiefs question, but couldn't get to it. Okay. It's just the way that it rolls. So Casey Chiefs, if you see this again, ask it Thursday. Or actually next Monday, because Thursday we don't answer that many questions. So thank you guys for taking your time tonight. Make sure you like and sub. And if you're new, jump in the memberships. If you want to get into Discord, we got a lot of good stuff coming from you. You're going to see players in uniforms on Friday. So
man, I can't wait.
Enjoy that.
Feels like this offseason has been longer than usual.
Dude, it has. I mean, it's just been it's that last loss. You lose the last game of the season, it still sucks. So
yeah, you're probably right about that.
You guys, Take It Back season starts this week. I hope that you guys have a great one. We'll have more for you tomorrow and the next day and the next day, and then we'll be back into the swing of it. I'm pretty excited about it. I hope you are too. We'll talk about training camp, and I'll let you guys know when we know. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.